Hello there and welcome to episode 22 of the Not So Casual Gamer podcast. I'm joined as always by Lewis Cunningham. Lewis, how the bloody hell are you? I need to stop saying that at the beginning of the podcast. I feel like that's all. Okay, cool, nice. How are you? Consistency.
All the twos, 22. I thought you were about to say like some real version of what that is for the bingo.
No, but what I will remark, and this makes us look very organised.
Okay.
Notice this. I can't believe I didn't notice it last time. Episode 21 was our episode on 2021.
Uh-huh.
Episode 22 is our episode on 2022.
Yes!
We'd planned it. We'd planned it all along.
This means when we get to episode 30, we then need to wait 10 years.
10 years. Well, that'll be the
years.
reunion, or whatever it is. That'll be the reunion. Anyway. Yeah. So I thought that was quite apt and funny.
Yeah.
Great. Happenstance. So yeah, for those who haven't read the title of today's episode, we are going to be just looking forward. We looked backwards last week. We will look forwards this week.
In this pivot of time.
Last episode. And just sort of talk about our most anticipated games of 2022. But
casually.
It's been a couple of busy weeks. I've been away on like my first holiday that I could have gone on, which has been delightful, which is nice. So
Happy Earth Day.
Oh yeah, it was my birthday. Thank you. Oh, you shouldn't have. Oh, for
Literally
me,
no one will get the reference either.
Happy Earth Day. There's no point in explaining.
Does that place even exist anymore?
It does. And they've got two locations now.
Oh.
The one in the West End.
Wow.
There you go. Very strange. But yes, that is a niche joke that we'll explain to no one. So we are going to be looking forward today, but we've got a couple of bits that we want to talk about just beforehand.
Yeah.
Now, beforehand, you said you haven't been playing much.
No, I mean, pretty much it's just been the Witness thing. Again.
Okay, so still just a Witness, yeah.
Just Alex and I. It really is, you know, if you're into puzzle games, and it's a really good one. It's a really therapeutic game. Mm-hmm. You know, it's very easy to obviously chat during it, sit and work out puzzles together. It's a really incredible co-op game.
Cool.
Really, if you're so inclined.
Wow.
But no, it's been really great actually, and I've really enjoyed that time.
Nice one.
Playing with Alex and I mean, because it's so much genius to kind of uncover in it. Such artistry, shall we say?
Yes.
And yeah, it's just been really nice. But other than that, yeah, I mean, I think I had a couple more games of Warzone.
Yeah, we had some good games as well.
It was all right, yeah.
First couple, you were finding your feet and you were feeling a bit down, but then you had, I think, like 2 in a row with 4 kills each, and you were sort of finding your way around the map a bit more. So definitely.
One game in particular felt almost like the old days.
Yeah, good.
Almost.
But that's just the new map and the time since that you've played. It all comes back.
You know.
But it's been fun. It was fun.
I almost feel like it's endearing that there's been a trickle back in of Warzone for me.
Yeah, it's nice.
Other than that, I think I played 1 minute of Dirt 5.
Oh, really? Just that was it?
Which I played it before on Game Pass, but for some reason I felt inclined to download it on the PS5.
DualSense and stuff. It's there.
It's there.
Okay.
But, you know.
We've all used the DualSense for driving by this point.
I actually do quite like how it plays. Mm-hmm. I think it's like a really intense driving sort of feel, and I've always preferred kind of off-road more type driving in games. So I mean I do actually quite like it, but can't really see myself playing it.
Fair.
You know?
I mean I didn't play it on Game Pass for no real reason. I don't really know why.
Well, because you had Forza Horizon, really.
Okay, there's the reason, I suppose. But so I've got it in the library. I've not downloaded it yet, but I'll probably do that. But yeah, fairly. Is that you? Is that it?
I mean, my brain has been such jelly recently that I don't know. Maybe.
Well, let's say it is. Let's
more or less. That's what I remember.
Cool. Nice. Well, again, just kind of same old with Warzone and stuff. Obviously, I was away for a good number of days, and so I wasn't playing as much these last 2 weeks anyway. Mm-hmm. But here's the...
You said you had an interesting one.
I have an interesting one. Cuphead.
So you have played it now.
I've played Cuphead.
Oh.
You
went to Duncan's?
Duncan came here yesterday. Right.
So you bought it?
I bought it. So I've got it. We should play it after.
Oh my goodness.
We'll play it after. Like, genuinely, for like a bit, show you, because it's stunning. But here's the kicker, right? Duncan is a wizard. We've spoken about Duncan on the podcast.
Yeah.
Platinum's Dark Souls, like it's nothing. He just told me, sorry, as an aside, that him and his mate have just done a fists-only run of Dark Souls 3.
Unbelievable.
No weapons, just fists. Hey, what? And they completed it in an hour and a half. Or something stupid. Right,
it's just ridiculous.
Duncan's been speedrunning Cuphead. He's been doing...
Himself?
Himself. He's been, and
How is that possible?
And with friends, right? So he's been doing it co-op. He's been doing it. He's been doing it himself. He's learned every boss's pattern, because that's all it is. It's hard. I'm not going to turn around and say it's not difficult, but it's patterns. It's memorizing. It's patterns, and it's anticipating.
Sorry about that.
That's all right. And it's anticipating. I heard. Sorry.
For goodness sake, this is just not going well. Go away.
So I heard. So I was talking to you. You've got your notes on there. I was talking to Richard, and he was saying that, oh yeah, you guys always apologise for like noises in the background. So, but he never hears them. And I was like, oh, he didn't hear that vibration. Then you drop your phone. I was like, yeah, he probably heard that one. So anyway, sorry guys.
Yeah,
I'm not going to go back in and edit it. I say that every time. So anyway, he's got this down to a fine art, right? Now, he was like, I'm going to come over and we're going to play it and we're going to complete it in one sitting. And I was like, no, we're not. And we did. What?
Well, do you know when he said that on Warzone, I totally believed it.
Fair,
because clearly this boy has the sight.
He claims that he doesn't,
games.
And I'm just like, you're too humble. But we played it for 3 hours and we completed it. Now,
wow.
Let it be known that he massively carried me. Of course he did. But what was really, really good was that I was starting to get a few bosses where, we died a couple of times. I was learning the patterns. But once he explained them to me and I started seeing them, I was alive at the end of the run, like or that boss.
Yeah.
I was getting bosses where I was, staying alive. And in fairness, in co-op, it does take more hits to take the bosses down. Obviously, accounting for two people being there. So, I mean, that also proves how good he is when he was by himself at the end of like bosses and doing it himself, of course. But
undeniably,
it's not. He could obviously do a co-op run by himself, but and did, because I was being carried. But I was getting it. But the main thing that obviously adds to the Cuphead's playtime, especially for the first time playing it, was that you need to just learn every boss. I effectively just had a human guide, like a walkthrough, sitting next to me. But it was this really, really fun blast of Cuphead in the afternoon, to the point where we finished it, we completed it, and then he left, and then I went back to World, like the first island, and I did the first boss without taking a hit.
Oh,
do you know what I mean? Like, so I was like, right, well, I'm getting this. Like, I'm going to maybe not as good as him, but I'm going to get a solo playthrough of Cuphead, and I know now what to, like, not to get frustrated, because it's not the boss's fault. It's not, that's terrible game design. It's your fault. If you mess up, it's your fault.
You just got to learn it.
Yeah. Fascinating game. Absolutely adore it. Like, already, like, no, I'm not going to be like, top 10 game, but like, art style, obviously.
Oh, absolutely.
Animation, music. It is the most gorgeous game ever.
I think that all of that went without saying.
And I'm just so glad that now I can say that I've played it. I need to now get better at it, of course, but I'm at this point where I was at work all day today, and I'm like, I just want to go home and play some Cuphead. I was just like really, really wanting to play. So yeah,
that's hilarious. I think this would be fun if it was your gateway into the Souls games.
Who knows? No, I don't know. But
well, I mean, there's obviously a bit more. They're a bit more obtuse.
But I could definitely see Duncan convincing me, like, oh no, it's fine. Like, it'll be fine. Like, just like Cuphead. Like, you'll.
If you really wanted to, Duncan could come and show you the ropes.
That would be the way to do it.
Do you know what I mean? So this is fun. I mean, I'm having a similar feeling like when you first got into Warzone.
Yeah,
actually, not different kettle of fish,
of
but
course.
in terms of Richard, obviously showing you the ropes, he was already really good at it, and you know, you got broken in, and then you kind of allowed me to come in and showed me the ropes in your kind of passed down way.
So we'll just do a Cuphead so you can gaze at it in your TV, because it just is something else.
Oh, I mean, actually, it's one of those games where you know, it's such a distinctive and authentic art style that you know, it would look good on anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Because it's just the style that shines through. It doesn't. You could have the most inaccurate television display of all time, and I would still say, well, look at that.
That's a great looking game.
Look at that. Well, to a point.
To a point, everyone. So yeah, Netflix have got the cartoon coming out this month.
Yeah,
looks cool. It's obviously got a more digital, more polished look to it. It's not got that, like, you know, jumpy lines of, you know, like that old animation, that 30s style, but in terms of like character design and enemy design, it's just going to be a treat to watch. It's 12 minute episodes. It's the same guys that made the same animation studio that made the most recent Mickey Mouse cartoons, which are really, really good and very stylized as well. So I'm buzzing to be like, you know, like I've always avoided Cuphead stuff on YouTube, like documentaries and, you know, bits and pieces. Like GameSpot did a 20-minute making of documentary, and I always kind of no, I want to hopefully play it first. So soon, and then I watched it last night. You know, just being able, like, saying that I knew what it was, and it was great. It was really cool. So I'm chuffed that there's like this sort of difficult game that I'm slowly getting to grips with, which is cool. And
I mean, I think even, you know, just knowing that you've played through it would even be enough for me.
Yeah, for sure.
But no, it's cool that you're excited about it.
We couldn't do that in 3 hours.
No, absolutely not.
We could maybe do the first boss. Maybe. But we'll
see what happens.
I've still got a couple of the run and gun levels to do. We skipped a couple of them because you need the coins from them to buy, like, different gun types and things like that. So So I've not done, I think, 3 of them. So I'm sitting at like 83% completion. But we've gone to the final boss. I mean, there's like the second last boss is King Dice, and he's like, it's like this roulette, or this, like, not roulette table, but like a gambling casino. Yeah. And you need to, there's like 9, I think it's like 9 spaces on this table. And you need to roll the dice, and then there's a boss on each number. Yeah. So there's 9 bosses at the end. Now, if you can get the higher dice rolls, you can get to the end, but you only have 3 hits to do it all. Oh. And there's a couple of spaces they're randomly assigned that if you land on it, you get an extra heart point back. So
is there different difficulty modes?
There's a I can't remember what it's called, but there's like a beginner's mode. And I asked Duncan, I was like, is it worth me going back and playing this? He was like, no, because if you can just learn, it's the same sort of difficulty for each boss-ish, but they just cut phases off. It's just shorter bosses. Right. They're like, so you may as well just learn that next phase. It'll be more rewarding, and it'll be so hard to go back. There's an expert mode afterwards, which he can do, which is terrifying. Yeah. So anyway, enough Cuphead talk. But yeah, I think that'll be one of these games that I'll, each podcast episode I'll be like, I learned how to do this next boss. I was able to do that. So I've done 3 levels myself on a solo run.
It's good. Out of
20 something.
Oh Jesus.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And we did them all in one sitting. It was great fun. Such a good afternoon.
Oh yeah, I mean, it was probably really so high octane.
It was. There was just a moment where I was like, right, I need to take like 5 minutes here, because I was just like,
take 5, guys.
Take 5. Take a breather, man. Take a breather.
That's good. Yes, that's really good.
Cuphead. I like how it's like, I'm getting the most excited about a game in a long time. It's from 2017. We're like, now to talk about 2022 games.
A timeless classic lasts forever.
It's in the name.
Yeah,
timeless. So 2022.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, it's looking a damn near better than 2021 was for games.
I think it probably will be, yes.
Yes, I mean, that was just the immediate takeaway I was getting from going like, oh, I want to play that, and I want to play that. Sorry, very quick aside. Did you do your PlayStation Wrapped?
I actually did click on it.
Yeah. And did you get stuck in a captcha of getting the mouse with cheese?
That annoyed me so much that I gave up.
It asked me to do it 5 times, and then when I got to the 5th time, it then made me do it 20 times. So I didn't do it, obviously.
Yes,
and then I just went in one more time, and it was just a regular captcha, and I got straight in and done.
Oh.
Like 6 hours later.
Oh, for goodness sake.
But keep in mind, we got Xboxes this year, so you'll probably have like lesser numbers.
Well, yes, yeah.
Because you played primarily there. But remember, I played a lot on Xbox as well, and I was still 1,402 hours on my PlayStation 5 last year.
Okay.
With 1,015 of those hours being on Warzone.
I don't know why they couldn't have just made this like instant and in the app and stuff like that.
I don't know.
How could they not?
I played 34 games last year.
It's quite a lot.
It's quite a lot. It's quite good. Some of them will be trying PlayStation Plus games and things like that, of course, in there. But the most annoying part, and this is what I don't like, so I screenshot it and I put it on my story, right? But I trimmed numbers 2 and 3 because numbers 2 and 3 were just 2 Call of Duty games, Black Ops Cold War and Vanguard. Vanguard was already my number 3 most played game.
Yeah,
because we play story games, and once you're done with it, you put it away. Do you know what I mean? That's it.
Well, it won't matter in the future because Vanguard 2 will only be on Xbox.
No, it won't.
Well, yes.
It won't.
Shall we
talk about that before we get into 2022? So, big gaming news. We're not typically, the podcast for current affairs.
But it's one of these.
But it's massive. So, Xbox have bought Activision Blizzard.
The umbrella of...
Yeah. The umbrella. So, that is pretty much who are your big publishers that aren't bought just now are, well, where Activision, EA, Ubisoft, Square Enix. Is that it for the big boys, the big guns?
Take-Two.
Take-Two, yeah, Take-Two. So that was the big 5, right? And arguably the biggest, if not the second biggest.
Depends how you look at it.
Depends how you look at it, because obviously Grand
Theft Auto. In terms of
Theft
revenue, absolutely.
Yes.
Are they not maybe number 1 even?
They could be, but Take-Two you could argue for GTA, NBA 2K, and stuff. But then you've got just Call of Duty being the best selling game every single year. Even the weakest Call of Duty sales are the top of the charts.
It's the cash cow.
Anyway, they have been bought by Xbox in a sort of very shocking... Because, you open Twitter in the morning and if Activision's trending, it's like, haha, someone else has sexually assaulted someone. You know what I mean? That's what Activision's been for the last however many months. And here's Xbox coming in, swooping in. But have you noticed the people that would have been like decrying Activision are now like, this is like really, really good for the industry and stuff. You're like, oh, Pekka, stay consistent, please, commentators over here.
I think it's, again, that's that kind of recent Xbox sort of, I want to say gaslighting, almost.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Of like, Big Phil will go in and sort them out and make things nice and good.
Well, it's that kind of Xbox being the underdog that's performing well. They're doing a good job. They're making consumer friendly moves. I mean, to the point where I bought my first Xbox. Do you know what I mean? So like, I've never have been an Xbox hater. We've always gravitated towards the exclusive games of Sony. But I'm still saying, for me, they're not making Call of Duty exclusive. We know that. Phil Spencer tweeted that out, saying that's not
confirmed then?
Confirmed.
Huh.
Didn't say anything about the rest.
I didn't actually know that was confirmed.
So he tweeted out, in fact, I'll find his exact tweet.
Because I thought the rumour was, Warzone will keep being updated, but the actual games will be...
To be honest, that could happen as well, and if they go on Game Pass, I would still be fine with it, because I could just play them there, because it's all cross progression on it there. But Phil Spencer tweeted, let me find it while I'm rambling here, but it will be up the top because it is very much very current. Let's see, here it is. This is 4 days ago, had good calls this week with leaders at Sony. I confirmed our intent to honour all existing agreements upon acquisition of Activision Blizzard and their desire to keep Call of Duty on PlayStation. Sony is an important part of our industry and we value our relationship. Nice.
Some man.
I like that Phil Spencer. Some man.
Spill fencer.
Spill fencer. So yeah, like there's obviously different bits and pieces that are, contractual agreements within Activision and things like that. That's fine. But yeah, the fact that they're only mentioning keeping COD on PlayStation leads me to believe that Overwatch 2 is Xbox exclusive. That Tony Hawk, if they make another Tony Hawk game,
that's right,
is exclusive. Crash Bandicoot and Spyro are now Xbox mascots. This is the thing that's so weird about this acquisition. It really is huge. But also, can I say, the most ridiculous amount of money. $68 billion.
It's almost 10 times the money of Bethesda.
Disney bought Star Wars for $4 billion.
No.
Star Wars.
Oh, wow.
For $4 billion.
What a difference.
And Xbox are back. I mean, there's a bit of inflation. Not that much inflation.
That's unbelievable.
Like, really put that into context, because even that context was still unbelievable when they spent $11 billion on Bethesda.
Oh, I thought it was 7.5.
It was 11 for Bethesda.
Oh, so it actually went revealed to go up.
It was more.
Okay.
I'll quadruple fact check that.
Well, I remember the number. The time of the news was 7.5.
Bethesda acquisition.
Maybe there was more
price.
Bits of it that people didn't care about.
Never mind. You're absolutely right.
Right.
7.5 billion.
Yeah.
I do apologise. Sorry. Where did I get 11 billion from?
I don't know.
Doesn't matter. Anyway.
Best part of 10 times.
Even still, 7.5 billion for Bethesda and 4.5 for Star Wars.
That doesn't make sense to me. How can that be?
Yeah. Anyway. So
I guess Skyrim's maybe bigger than we think it is.
Well, it's on everything, I suppose. But I don't really know. I mean, there's so many commentators kind of talking about it. The deal's not looking like it's going to go through until middle of 2023. We've pretty much got another full Call of Duty's game cycle. If it was question mark on that, where it wouldn't have been an issue anyway. I think it's right that they don't take it if they don't make Call of Duty exclusive. I think that's right. And I would say, and here's the thing. Oh, if this was the other way around, Sony would be taking Call of Duty off of Xbox. I think they would.
Yeah.
I think they would.
I think they probably would, yeah.
And I still would be on the camp of that shouldn't happen.
It's a weird one.
I love a Sony exclusive. I love my PlayStation exclusives.
Doesn't need to happen.
That doesn't need to happen because it only hurts people. It doesn't help PlayStation because the PlayStation are selling.
Call of Duty is such a ubiquitous thing unto itself that it's not quite the same as Elder Scrolls, Starfield are going to be exclusive. It's like, Elder Scrolls is big in that, but it's not.
But there's also some
Call of Duty is its own platform now.
It is, absolutely. And it's spanning multiple games, and you can't they want this cross progression to be across all these games with your Activision account that you have.
Yeah.
You can't do that when you then have Warzone on the PlayStation, but not the next COD.
That would be strange.
It just wouldn't for what they want to do. But things can change, of course. But the fact that he's coming out saying that obviously shows how important getting out in front of that was. But yeah, it didn't. I was already I'll just play if Warzone stays on PlayStation. And the games go onto Game Pass day one, I'll just play them there and level up stuff and come across and play. But
even saying things like this, these are, like you say, it's not going through until next year.
Exactly.
And then it'll be within those next few years that things will be in play. So Microsoft definitely playing some sort of long game.
Well, they just want to buff out Game Pass. That's what they're saying. They want Game Pass to be.
They're really trying
the most value.
Yeah, they're just trying to make this, absolutely the Netflix of games. If we have almost everything else other than
we've got
PlayStation
EA Play as well. Do you know what I mean? We would never ever subscribe to EA Play. You and I.
No,
but we do technically because we've got Game Pass Ultimate. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
So if you've got EA Play, Activision games day one, and Game Pass already for us was, for you more so than me, but for me as well, was just a great value. It's just a no-brainer. It's crazy.
Well, it is an interesting one because, you know, in terms of creative output from the acquisition, it's like, for me personally, there's not much under that umbrella that I was kind of like, oh, well, you know, that's very intriguing / exciting that those IPs or types of games that may come from certain studios are there now with the backing of Microsoft. There's not, maybe that'll change now. Maybe there's studios, because there's now so many.
Well, that's it.
under
that's
Xbox.
It. I mean, the thing is,
I can't even keep up.
No, too many. It's getting very murky. But the most encouraging bit about me, because the thing I've been most discouraged about, even being a fan of Warzone and Call of Duty, is how they've taken teams off of projects and put them in support roles. Vicarious Visions went from making Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 to support roles in Blizzard on Overwatch and stuff like that. That's bang out. Do you know what I mean? Like, why were you not, like, why did they made a Crash 4 on the success of the Insane Trilogy? Why did they not make a new Tony Hawk game? So this, if it becomes exclusive, that there's an Xbox only Tony Hawk game, great.
Well, there was an encouraging quote from another one from Phil Spencer. I don't know if you saw this, but he was kind of openly talking about wanting to bring back. So he was like, I was just looking at the IP list. It's like Guitar Hero and going off, and I'm like, well, maybe that does mean that you would like to do Tony Hawk somehow.
Yeah,
again.
I think it's a good thing. This sort of mergers and acquisitions, like sort of.
I don't know that I would play another Guitar Hero right now.
No, but
it's fun.
Turning the games industry into this, like, you know, everything's exclusive to one company has its ramifications, of course. But I like if it's going to be anyone, I'm glad that they're taking Activision away from someone who, like Bobby Kotick in charge, that was just put everyone on Call of Duty. Like, no, don't do that. Because Spyro was great. Crash Insane Trilogy was great. Tony Hawk was amazing. Like, you know, use these things that you've got. But anyway, so that's the encouraging part for me. Like, I like that hopefully these teams are kind of released back to do what they really want to do. And they're not just, like, forced to work on COD. Because if you're not passionate about doing that, that'd be terrible. Also, might it be said that just proves that Xbox exclusives weren't great in the first place, and they just had to go and buy everyone else rather than just like make better games. But anyway,
it was one way to do it, and it's like quantity over to see what would stick essentially, and they're still, you know, it's slowly but surely they are coming out with stuff. You know, we're going to talk about some games, and I think even one or two in my list certainly are you know, on that side of things, and I don't know. It'll be very, very intriguing to see what their long game plan is, and what games come out of it, and how it shapes the landscape. Because if we could seg somewhat into like almost a prediction-y section here,
of course, yes,
I think it will be interesting to see how Sony reacts as
this Project Spartacus.
Because you could argue that there's almost this way of with what's the way that Microsoft have been moving, and obviously everything with them is on PC as well.
Yes.
So you could say that, you know, Sony are maybe feeling a bit kind of backs against the wall slightly, because it's like, well, there's becoming more and more reason to just have a PC.
Yes.
Because it's just our games that people are also talking about are slightly too expensive now, and I think so. What, you know, one of my predictions, and it's kind of an obvious one because it's so heavily rumored and talked about, but I think there's a very good chance that we see their some sort of version of their Game Pass equivalent this year, because I feel like they almost, I don't want to say they have to do it now, but to make themselves, I don't know, to keep themselves in line with almost like industry expectations now. Yeah. And to kind of give...
PlayStation now isn't that. It just isn't.
No.
It technically has more on there, but it's just not that.
No,
you know what I mean?
it's not the same when you compare it in terms of how it functions and the value proposition.
Yeah. So it's a very interesting one. I think that I'm looking forward to seeing what that is, but it's also another prediction. I don't know how much I fully agree with this, but this is more of a devil's advocate thing. I think potentially combine... Nah. It'd be interesting to see. Obviously, Sony are putting a lot of their games on PC just now. A while after they've been out, that's only God of War just out. And that was
you think that ramps up maybe? And
I think that ramps up, but for two reasons. Because Xbox is doing it more and more, but also people still can't get PS5s. Because what's going to happen is...
True.
They're manufacturing more PS4s to meet demand. That's not working. I really want a PS5. I've got a PS4 sitting here. Oh, I know. Another PS4. Like that. If you've not got a PS4 now, you're not buying one new. I'm sorry. You're just going on Facebook Marketplace and like buying one off someone. Do you know what I mean? Like that's just what's happening. But anyway, maybe not. Maybe in, Brazil and some of these markets where these consoles are so highly tariffed and taxed that maybe that's not the case. They typically tend to play consoles for a lot longer or play older consoles. But I just can see it because it's going one of two ways, right? It's that this cross-generational time is going to extend, so games are going to have to be a bit gimped to run on PS4.
Gimped?
And we're not getting the best experience on PS5, or they just sever the PS4 for that cross-generational gap, which is, I think they're still well within their rights to, well, they can do whatever they want, but they're well within their rights to be releasing cross-generation games just now. Maybe not, like in previous times, maybe Horizon Forbidden West would never have been on PS4 and they would have been, all out for, and God of War is on PS4. Ragnarok, we'll talk about that later, but so I think I would like to see the latter though, where they were to like sever the cross-generation, release day and date on PC. Do it. I don't care. I'm not building a £2,000 PC, but let the people that have it play it.
Yeah.
They're not going to buy that PS5 when they've spent all this money and time on their PC and they're so in that ecosystem. Give them day and date if that means that we get that game that pushes that machine to the limits, not past the limits, of course, but you know what I mean, like that we get the best out of the PS5. I think we've got great stuff on the PS5 and a lot of stuff coming, but there's still that worry in the back of your mind of going, well, would Horizon have been better if it was just on PS5 or on PS5 PC?
Are we inching closer and closer towards just PC gaming being, in terms of building and setting up PCs being more accessible, and actually just PlayStation and Xbox Game Passes are just on that.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a PS6, because by the time that comes around, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Maybe that is... I maybe not, because that would have to be quite a rapid change in how the sort of mainstream gaming market would have to work and perceive. Oh, we're going to buy modular kits to build our gaming machines, and it's just get this service and this service. Just like how you would buy, I've wanted to get this nice telly and I'm just going to go home and boot up Netflix and I've got Amazon on it as well. Just that, but for something that can power games.
Yes.
And it literally is the service thing, and the consoles are just not necessary.
I'm not adverse to it having, I don't want a gaming PC. I don't. There's times where I'm like, it'd be nice to have Warzone running at, the most frames per second, but that is not in any way, shape or form worth going through all that hassle for. It's just not for me.
Yes.
And the cost, but hassle as well. I mean, my driver's not updated, but that's awful, man. That's so bad. And also, I like to sit on my couch and play games. I don't, but I know you can then hook a PC up to then just purely use console and have a mouse and keyboard there but nah, it's just...
I do wonder.
That might be the way it goes, and that's fine. If that's the way it goes, I'll embrace it when I have to. But if I don't need to just now, I'm not going to.
Maybe it's not possible, and I don't know enough about architecture of computers and software. But I'm kind of surprised it's not got to a point already where it's more accessible to kind of make, like, you know, do you know what I mean? Like, just set them up and go.
Yeah.
4 games.
Yeah.
Somehow. Like, there's just like you just need to do this and this for gaming optimization, and that's it. You just plug it into your screen and you don't really have to worry about it, or it tells you what you need to do if you need to replace a part or upgrade, and it just kind of works.
Yeah.
Surprised it's not been more streamlined up to this point. You do kind of need to be quite in the know about PCs.
Oh, definitely.
And
definitely.
What makes it tick a bit to get to get
the most out of it,
and the most optimized experience.
What's the point of spending, like, because I mean, if you spent £1,000 on a PC, maybe my pricing's wrong here. You're getting the equivalent of the PS5.
Yeah,
in a lot of ways.
No,
your games are going to run at 120 frames per second. My games run at 120 frames per second if the game supports it, of course. Mm-hmm. You know, our SSDs would probably be quicker than the ones you'd be able to get in your PC at that kind of price range. Someone that spent £3,000 on their PC, different story. But I don't know. It's just this. It's this world where I'm like, I appreciate it. I get it. I get why you want it. Oh, you want the best of the best. But even myself, like on our TV, I say our TV because you've got a similar one, but our range of TV, like 4K is awesome and stuff like that. That's great. But if every day,
be all end all.
Every day of the week, I'm choosing performance over fidelity. Mm-hmm. I'm going for that higher frame rate, and I can play third person open world adventure games at 60 on my PS5. And the 120 for Warzone and COD on my PS5. I'm fine. That's good.
Totally.
That's a total upgrade for me. You know what I mean?
Well.
Anyway, that's a good prediction.
That was a little bit of a tangent. PC.
We got into it. But anyway, that kind of was my prediction. Is that we're going to see a ramp up in PlayStation PC and start to see things, if not day and date, get there much quicker.
Yes.
You know.
Totally.
Any others before we just talk about the games that are anticipated?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've actually kind of really touched on, because one of my other notes I had was that Microsoft will continue their just
monopolization.
Well, yeah, like their kind of current path of just trying to make themselves a real proposition. I just think it'll be interesting to see if they can keep up the momentum of goodwill through this year, and what else. Do they have any other tricks up their sleeves that we're not even thinking about?
But I could see it. I could see it backfiring on them as well. There's this this whole thing of, oh, Sony makes this exclusive. Like, oh, why has Sony got all these exclusives? Blah 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 blah. I want to play God of War as well. I want to play Spider-Man. Why do they buy Spider-Man? That's not fair. And then these same people are now like, yeah, Xbox, keep buying everything to isolate it on just your platform and stuff. Like, it's you're only happy when it's working in your favor, and that's why I'm really glad to have both.
Feels good, doesn't it?
Because I just don't care. Like, I'm not in the console war. If it's a game that I'm going to put, so much time into, and it's on Game Pass, and I want it the best possible way, I'm still willing to pay for it on PlayStation. I'm not. I'm not adverse to that, but the Game Pass, or have you got the Game Pass?
You got the Game Pass.
Game Pass is there for that kind of question mark. I just downloaded the Mass Effect trilogy.
Oh yes, forgot that.
I've not played it yet, but this is my time. This is my time.
I'm afraid it's far too many hours for me, son.
For sure. But like, what I mean is, I don't need that on my PS5.
Yeah,
I don't need it on that. I'll take it on my Series S. And what I might do down the line is just trade in the S and get the X. If it really becomes like, I need to play Tony Hawk at this, and I need to, but I just can't.
By the halfway point of the generation, it'll be the Series X squared.
Series.
The more powerful, even still, one.
That you can't get. That's more of a mini fridge. Also, built-in mini fridge. So, yeah. But I'm not going to do that. But but again, I'd be willing to do that, to upgrade from the S to the X if it really became the thing I was playing more on. Because I don't have, I love my PS5 and I love the PlayStation exclusives, but if that game that's exclusive to Xbox comes out, and I'm like, well, who knows? And if the situation's right, I'm not adverse to that, and that they've got me. But what I mean is, that Series S was that really, really good foot in the door. You know what I mean? Sell that for however much and just put it towards the upgrade, and you're dancing.
Or you
really
just
want to.
Just get to a point where you once again no longer bothered by Xbox, trade that in and put it towards the PSVR 2.
The PSVR 2 is one that I'm very excited to see more about, because that's, I love the VR, but it's just such a hassle. Like, total hassle to set up. So if this is just plug and play,
y'all will be excited for that Horizon game.
Indeed, absolutely. That was really cool. So no, well, the more news we get of PSVR, I'd like to do some VR stuff as well. But we're gonna actually total aside. But we're gonna, because I've got the adapter for the PS5. You have to like mail order the camera adapter and stuff.
Yeah.
I got that, and then we built everything into that unit in the living room. So I'm like, I'm never going to take all this out to plug in the PSVR stuff.
Yeah.
So what we're doing is, Kerry kept our old PS4. We're going to wipe it and just load all the VR stuff onto it.
VR machine.
And then just do it in here, because we've got all this floor space, and just put the camera on the monitor. And I'm pointing to an office that we're recording in, but you just, it will have like a box of just, which has a PlayStation in it purely for VR. So and then sell all that and get the two. So there you go. But that's
fun times ahead.
Fun times ahead, indeed. Speaking of times ahead, though,
yes,
let's talk about the games.
Well, the NFTs. Because we sort of mentioned.
Was that your prediction? Is that your last prediction, that we're going to see a lot of NFT?
Possibly.
Yeah. Okay. Because we're already seeing that.
Yeah.
Like who was it? Who was it that Ubisoft are toying with NFTs?
Because of course they are.
Of course they are, with like Ghost Recon games or the Tom Clancy games, whatever it may be.
I still don't really get, like, I think I know what they are, but I also therefore still, yes, I also don't get why.
It's a full on scam.
How is it? Oh yeah, I don't know. It's the world is crazy. The internet has done, it's just created this I don't know, herd thing where it's like, well, because everyone's talking about it and doing it, then therefore I must.
Do you see Troy Baker?
Oh, yeah, his voice.
Voice NFTs.
Was that a joke or?
No, it's real.
It's real,
legit.
right? Okay.
And he came out and apologised for it because everyone flipped out.
Oh my god! So you actually had to do a genuine apology?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
He's in a podcast with Alana Pierce. He does a podcast with her and someone
that's
else.
right, Alana Pierce.
Charlanazard. And then, that's a great Twitter name, by the way. I do like that.
If you know, you know.
And someone else who are like super vocal on their podcast, like anti-NFT. And then he was like, and then he put out this like branded tweet about NFTs and stuff like that. So I think there was a wee bit of consternation there, which is funny.
Yeah. Well, maybe we'll talk more about them in a future episode.
We could have just called this episode the Activision one. We're at like 45 minutes already.
Oh no, how did that happen?
Because it was a good conversation.
Yeah.
It was a fascinating one. We've not even talked about
the
games.
main point of this was meant to be the...
Right, let's get into it. Let's just get into it just now, and we'll not rattle through it, but
we can go another 45.
We'll talk as much as we need to. Anyway, I'll just put some ones that are like interesting. Now, not all of these fully speak to me, but they're worth being mentioned. I'll kind of save obviously the most anticipated for sort of towards the end. It's not a tier list. This is no particular order, but I just figured we would just like talk about games. We're going to have a lot of crossover in here, so we can
interesting that you've decided to talk about. I kind of only wrote down ones that I was interested in. But
when I literally say that, I just mean genuinely like Elden Ring is obviously huge. Like Mario Rabbids and stuff. There's a new Mario Rabbids game coming out. I like the first one. It's not going to be like this day one thing, but just like sort of big games in their spheres. Obviously, the Souls fans are very excited for Elden Ring. So
I wish I could be, because once again, it's just another one by this team of people. They know how to do an art style. They know how to really grab me with their
visuals and
the atmosphere and vibes of those games just appeal to me so much. and it's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
I can't
Yeah.
get into those worlds because it's just too damn hard. Well, maybe I can give it another go one day.
Who knows? But yeah, so that's that one. And then also, not for me, but I'm very curious about it, is Starfield.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had that one written down.
So
because...
let's talk about a little bit about Starfield. So if you've listened to some episodes of the podcast before, you'll know that kind of Bethesda formula hasn't really worked for me just because of that gaming hiatus that I took. If I hadn't taken that and I was on Fallout 3 day one, I was on Skyrim day one, I think it'd just be a completely different story. But it's just, that's the way it went and that's the way it is. So,
yeah.
But Bethesda have not ever impressed me. So I've never been on that like hype train. So I've only ever really been like...
It is interesting that.
Disappointed by Bethesda.
To be a gamer such as yourself and be in that position where it's like you have absolutely zero affection for them and they've got it all, literally all to prove to you.
They don't have goodwill with me. Do you know what I mean? Not
totally.
that I'm going in negative with it at all. Not going in negative with it at all. But they do have... you know, it all to prove, and they could. I'm open. They could win me over. I'd like for them too, because I'd like to be part of that sort of conversation. I'd like to be part of that sort of maybe not part of that fandom, because
I feel like I have a semblance of an idea of what it's going to be like. I think it will definitely retain that at least some of that formula, but I think they're probably really gonna try this time to really flesh it out.
Yep.
If that's like the skeleton, then I think they're gonna really try and make sure that it's highly polished and highly detailed, and maybe turn around that narrative of like, oh well, look at Skyrim versus Witcher 3 when it came out, where actually they've made something that is in that vein but is now at a level of expectation with the actual detail and substance within.
Yes, I think there's
it'll be huge in scope. I have no doubt about that. It'll be absolutely just like galaxy faring. Set phasers to Malkay, go here.
It's nice. But if it's a repetitive, boring game with no, it could be the biggest thing in the world, and it just turns into like a No Man's Sky. It won't. But there's a worry of it being too big, much to your, you would agree with that as well with your current kind of thing.
Yeah, no, that's goes without saying.
There's this, Bethesda games are always too big for me because I'm overwhelmed by the choice. I know I've said that before. It's this like, should I side with them? Oh, but I've missed out this quest line, and everyone says this quest line's amazing, then I need to play it again.
Well, it's interesting that is obviously... that's how it affects you, because that kind of was part of the beauty of some of those games.
And
particularly New Vegas, but
I know that 100%.
Which wasn't even them.
So it's one of these. I think that I'm just I'll be let's go extremely cautious but optimistic. That's probably where I'm at, because I'm hoping they cannot release
another
a broken, buggy crap. I mean, Kerry was playing Fallout 4 the other day. I mean, I sent you a picture. It was hilarious.
It was great.
Of just like, so she just, spoiler alert, I suppose, for Fallout 4, I don't really care. Your son that you search for the whole game ends up being so much. Many years have passed that you were frozen, and you think it's only been like a year or something, and he's the head of the institute, and he's creating all the synths and stuff like that. Yeah. And you can choose to side with him or kill him. Kerry kills him, and it's this big like emotional bit of like, you've just killed your son, blah blah blah, and then she goes downstairs and she comes up and he is like floating in midair horizontally, T-posed like out in the sky. It was absolutely hilarious.
Brilliant.
But also she was in like the middle of a gunfight, and it went down to about 5 frames per second. It was so chuggy, and that's it playing on PS5, and I know that there's no upgrade for it, but it's, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, that shows you they're not even capable of doing an update.
No, that's it. There is on,
which is hilarious.
There is on Xbox though, so I wonder if there's like a 60 frames per second patch on Xbox and stuff.
Okay.
So I wonder if there's a wee bit to do with that.
Well, I get okay. That's maybe just
But anyway, so Starfield. they've got pretty much everything to prove with me. I'll still play it. So when it's going to be on Game Pass day one, I'll play it.
Exactly.
There's no harm in doing so. Kerry will probably play a lot of it as well on the Xbox. She'll be raring to go with that. Definitely not going to be.
So she's quite excited for Starfield. Like,
I don't think she's really. I don't think she really is thinking about it at all. But I know when it comes out, she will be. But she's just not the anticipation type. I think that's my chair squeaking, which wouldn't have been picked up in the mic.
Hearing things,
as we now find out. What else? What have you got? What would you like to? Let's move on from Starfield.
Vaguely in sort of order chronologically.
Cool.
Possibly. I'm not actually. Maybe not. Stray.
I've got Stray as well. Yes.
Stray
is the cat game. For those who don't know, you might have seen trailers about it.
Honestly,
you play as a cat. It looks delightful.
Not
cutesy.
No,
but it looks adorable. But it's quite dark and grimy and back alley and all this. But it's very unique looking.
Cat simulator. Kind of urban cat simulator.
Yes.
I don't know. It just looks. It's the type of thing that just really appeals to me these days. Like something where developers just thought outside the box and come up with a concept that is. And
for me, not being as into not into indie games, but not playing much of them of late, it's one that I'm definitely really excited for.
This is a PlayStation exclusive, right?
Question mark on that.
Isn't it?
I don't know.
Who makes it?
Let's find out. So Stray is.
I think it is.
Stray. I mean, they're.
Can't wait for that pause on the ground DualSense feel.
It's not PlayStation exclusive. It is.
It's on PC.
Blue 12 Studio. It's an Annapurna game.
Okay,
running on Unreal Engine 4.
Love me some of that Annapurna.
Scheduled for release in early 2022 for Microsoft Windows, PlayStation 4, and PlayStation 5.
Right, so PC and PlayStation.
Yeah, it's true.
But could possibly come to Xbox. It's maybe a timed thing again.
Yeah, unsure. But anyway, looks fantastic. If you've not seen the trailer for it, go and look at it. It's this almost like neon. I don't want to be like that cyberpunk kind of thing, but that kind of. If you've seen any footage of the sort of back alley kind of look of cyberpunk with a bit of the neon lights and the I think it's quite slightly futuristic, I believe.
It's quite a photorealistic visual style.
But it looks fantastic. Really interesting. Looking forward to playing that. That's on my list as well.
Yeah, some sort of alley cat adventure.
There you go.
Of some kind. Let's be having it.
Yep, let us be having it indeed.
Although I think it's been delayed. I think isn't it the spring or summer it's coming out.
Yeah, something like that. It said early 2021, but I think it's been delayed a bit out. But
oh well, what can you do?
As is everything. Yeah. As is the want of everything, of course.
Okay, so basically not chronological then.
That's fine.
But if I could bring it back, because something that is coming out in a few days, it doesn't really count because it's not new. But I think I'm at the very least planning to play Uncharted Lost Legacy Remastered again. Yeah. It's been a while since I've played that one. Played Uncharted 4 fairly recently, but I don't know, we'll see. But yeah,
Uncharted's a Thief's Collection or the Thief Collection or whatever it is. I don't know. Has been remastered on PS5. It's getting 120 frames support. It'll be interesting to try that.
Don't need that.
I know. I don't need it. I don't need it, but I'm going to try it.
Give me as much fidelity as I can get.
For sure. With these games, absolutely. But I will still try it. But I will be playing it at 60 frames.
Oh, no. Yes. With 60, because that's 60. Part of the... There's still the occasional time these days where I'm okay with 30.
Right.
For example, The Witness. You can play in... I mean, it certainly looks like native 4K in 30, and because it's a walking simulator.
Of course, yeah.
It's totally fine.
Of course.
It's like, oh, this is great. It's so sharp, it's so vibrant, and it's great. But, most things these days, it would be 60, and Uncharted, I think, would benefit.
1, 2, and 3, and the collection run at 60.
Yeah.
So it's like you play 1, 2, and 3 at 60 frames per second, and then get to 4, and you jump down to 30, so it's... as much as it's the best looking one of the lot.
But it's always had quite, smooth, responsive gameplay.
Exactly.
And it just...
It's never felt too too bad for that, but it's going to feel even better now.
It's an action-packed game. It's going to be good.
I don't know if I'll play it anytime soon. I didn't play Uncharted 4 when we got the PS5s and the new TVs and stuff like that, like you did. So I'll probably hold off a little bit longer, but I'm also very excited. I have to say, man, very excited for the movie. No, I'm just kidding.
Dear.
We need to go see it, though. We can't not.
Hopefully
Hopefully we're pleasantly surprised and have fun.
Do you know what? I don't know, because I just can't. It's not going to be so ridiculous / bad. It's funny. It's not. Unfortunately,
it's just
going Tom Holland.
It's just going to be.
If The Rock was in it somehow,
then see that Mark Wahlberg had a mustache in the last trailer.
Did he?
Yeah, the end of the trailer, he comes in, he's got a mustache.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
So anyway, who knows? Anyway, we'll talk about. We should just do an episode on gaming movies and like watch a bunch of them. Finally, watch that terrible Assassin's Creed movie.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, we should. Anyway,
Michael Bassfender.
Michael Bassfender, nice.
Michael Fender Bass.
Cool, nice one. That's good. My next, I'll just do a couple here. Goes without saying, Modern Warfare 2. That's the leaked next COD, as in the sequel to 2019's Modern Warfare. They're making another Modern Warfare 2.
Modern Warfare 2.
Again,
but not the original one.
Modern Warfare 2. Yeah.
Oh my god, it's hilarious.
It's not confirmed that they'll call it Modern Warfare 2, but it's the sequel. It's Infinity Ward's sequel to Modern Warfare 2019.
They've already done it. They might as well.
Yeah, for sure. So, but with that, they've already said they're doing like a new map on launch and stuff. And anyway, that.
Oh, as in for
Warzone and stuff. So it's just gonna. There was meant to be a new map when Cold War came out, but it was running on Blackout engine, which was the first BR, and it was going to be Blackout and then Warzone, and then they were going to kill Warzone and then do Blackout 2 and then kill Blackout 2 and do Warzone 2 and stuff. But
side note, I don't know why this is still a hang up for me, but do you not find it odd that there still isn't a native PS5 app for Warzone?
100%.
Like, how is that not a thing?
I don't know.
Honestly, Call of Duty.
I know.
You think that? I mean, I'm kind of surprised it didn't happen right away.
Don't get me started on that. I was sure.
I mean, I don't know how much it would solve for optimization, but it might.
I know, but to get the 120 frames per second, which we've got just now, but that would 100% allow us to play at the 120 FOV.
Yeah, I think it would iron out
that field of view change. It would feel more like the PC experience for us. Anyway, here's hoping. And then I'll just. Did you have anything on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League?
Nope.
I don't know anything about it. I watched the gameplay thing. Could be cool. It's Rocksteady. Could be cool. Again, I'm not a big Suicide Squad guy. I'm not a big DC guy. Didn't see that new Suicide Squad film, but apparently it's really good. So,
well, I suppose if it hits anything like the level of, the recent, what do you call it? What's the Marvel? Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yes.
It could surprise people in terms of where it sits in Mindshare.
But I don't have much to say about it. But I just saw it on the list and went, yeah.
Maybe.
I'll see. Keep
an eye on it.
One. And then the last one, in fact, Hogwarts Legacy, I'll put that on the list.
Oh, is that this year?
There's already rumours that's been pushed to 2023.
Yeah, I can't see it.
So,
I mean, I've got a few of those as well that's like extremely tenuous.
I'm not going to touch on that. Yeah. And the one we'll talk about a wee bit longer and then we'll pass it back to you. The Lego Star Wars Complete Saga, the Skywalker Saga.
Oh.
Have you seen the recent gameplay?
So wait, is that like remasters of?
Oh, it's a full remake of all the.
Right, so it's like a new Lego
game.
Star Wars
It's just a
game.
new Lego Star Wars game.
Right, okay.
It's going to have obviously similar levels because they're based off movies, but it is like almost like an over-the-shoulder third-person action game. You aim with guns and shoot, and then there's the puzzles and there's the collectibles.
Is there a lot of gameplay shown already?
Yeah, there's
how have I not seen this?
We should watch again. I know that we always say this. Like, let's watch it after the podcast, and then we totally forget. But no, genuinely, this looks like such a fun one for like couch, just drop in, drop out co-op. Looked great fun. Can't wait. But just also that kind of scratch that collectibles itch. There's 300 characters to collect.
Oh my god.
For the Star Wars nerds out there, you can play as Max Rebo, Max Rebo
I've heard that name.
Is the keyboard player from Jabba's Palace, the blue elephant-looking guy. He's also turned up in the Book of Boba Fett recently. He's turned up twice in it, and I'm like, Max Rebo, yeah, So
what was a very deep? I heard a little tiny piece of lore related to this recently. I think Alex was telling me. Is it? He asked me. I'm sure it was. Do you know the genre of music that they call that?
Jizz.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
It's called jizz.
That was it. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, why not?
The Cantina band play jazz music.
Of course they do.
A spacey version of jazz. Jazz.
Yeah, I mean, that's like yeah, okay. It was the 70s.
It was the 70s. It was called Ejaculate then. Right, so anyway,
moving swiftly on.
No, but Lego Star Wars looks really impressive. It's so much more than just like a remaster or even a remake. It looks like a total shift. To the point, you unlock planets. You can fly out of the planet, fast travel to the next one with hyperspace.
Yes.
Land outside the planet with and can dogfight in space, and then fly into the planet and land at spaceports.
Great.
Awesome.
It's all in Lego.
All in Lego, but you can explore these planets outside of the levels, not as part of the levels, and then go into more linear Lego collectible levels, but also have almost like an open world Star Wars galaxy in Lego to just go and explore. Totally up my street.
Coming out PS5?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Probably look really clean.
It will.
Because, I mean, it's just Lego, isn't it?
It will.
They can make it look really sharp and shiny.
Yep. So, very excited for that. That's going to be really good. And then I've got a few more that we'll kind of go back and forth on that are these are going to be playing them day one kind of thing. Which we'll have a lot of, maybe not day one, but we'll have a lot of crossover with these games.
Got certainly the big ones. So wait, sorry, did you say, is it my turn?
On you go.
Right, yeah, because I mean, I've got a spate of ones that, probably don't appeal to you. I'll have a bit of a horror segment here. Because there's a good few that are supposed to be coming out this year. I think a few of these will end up not.
Okay.
First obvious one, Stalker 2.
Of course.
Been looking forward to that for a while.
You were quite immediately enthralled by Stalker 2's trailer and stuff.
It's a total psychological horror first person shooter. Didn't play the first one, always wanted to. I think it was just a PC game really way back, and it's 15 years ago, I think.
Aye.
And
About time.
Well, exactly. It's going to be one of these ones where you can feel okay about jumping in.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's just a horror shooter. I mean,
yeah. As long as you get scared and have fun, that's it.
That's really it. So, or even if it's not particularly scary, it just looks really cool as a sort of dark psychological shooter.
Yeah.
I don't know overly too much about the vibe of it, but I'm quite sure it is. Well, I mean, it's obviously Chernobyl and crazy things that have happened because of that. So yeah, should be good.
Lots of scope for very creepy, and also because it will feel quite real. There'll be a supernatural.
I hope so.
Element, but there will be this kind of this happened, and obviously this is an artistic take on what subsequently happened. But the fact that you're in real locations, in a place where radiation,
it's a very good point.
Mess things up. There's
your imagination kind of imagine that this is
what's actually happened in the world. It could make it really quite scary.
I suppose you could do that with Fallout, but this is a bit more grounded in something.
Something, yes.
Yeah. So there's that one. Scorn is meant to be coming out at some point.
Scorn, of course.
But that looks intensely creepy.
Okay. Because I've not seen anything about it, man.
Well, I mean, we sat and I think when it was originally revealed.
Oh, did we watch it?
Yeah, whatever conference it might have been. This was 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, right. Okay. Fair. I was thinking maybe last year or something.
I'm not expecting you to remember that, but I was obviously immediately like, oh, wow, this looks... Because the art style is something else.
Keep talking about it. I'm going to see if it sort of... I just typed scrub.
Scrub.
That's not it. Scorn, the game.
Yeah, so it's going to be a first-person shooter, but...
Oh, aye. Yeah.
Yeah, but like in a really, really particularly creepy... Now, what is... the art style is directly influenced by... What is it again?
Scorn is an upcoming first-person biopunk survival horror adventure game developed by Serbian developer Ebb Software. The game is inspired by the works of visual artist H.R. Geiger and Zadislaw Beksinski.
Geiger is definitely the one I was thinking of.
Yes.
Yeah, just really kind of like disgusting sci-fi.
Oh yeah, it looks horrendous.
So that'll be interesting. Really slow, methodical game. It looks like.
Aye.
So, sound design I think will be a big part, but they might. It's been in a bit of development hell, which is a bit worrying. So we'll see. The second Plague Tale.
Right.
I know that I gave up on the first one,
yep.
and I've said my piece a few times on this, but I really want to believe that the second one can convince me.
Pull in Assassin's Creed 2 and blow your mind.
Like just polish it right up, really refine that rat feel on that DualSense. And
we've added more rats to the DualSense.
maybe that acting will be a bit of a higher standard. We'll see, but I don't know.
Rat feel.
This is kind of cheating because it's not at all from. Well, it came out about this time last year, but I'm definitely planning to buy it this year, which is Little Nightmares 2.
Okay, cool.
Like in terms of games that I've actually got backlogged that I want to buy.
Yeah.
Because there's not many. Because
fair.
I've been relying so much on just whatever comes on Game Pass.
For sure.
Or just whatever. I don't buy many games anymore.
Fair.
Or, there'll be ones that are coming out, obviously, that we're talking about.
Yes.
Then go into that category. But there's just a few that have slipped through the net that I'm still planning to...
But I think it's fair because Little Nightmares 2, you hadn't played the first one at that point, or you were just playing it, if I
played
remember
it just
correctly.
Before...
So it was just too soon to jump straight into the second one. Yeah.
So it'll be a good time when it happens. Callisto Protocol apparently could be this year, although I don't think so.
Callisto Protocol, for those who don't know, is the set in the PUBG universe. Just let that sink in.
Oh my god, so it is.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Set in the PUBG universe.
How is
It's a survival horror game set 200 years ahead of after PUBG.
And if it's to be believed, heavily influenced by Dead Space.
By Dead Space, because it's the Dead Space creator that's making it.
So it's quite an interesting...
I don't know how... I bet you it's purely just like... There's like a audio diary that's just like, oh yes, back in the war time.
Well, yeah. Well, it'll either be that modest about it, or it will actually be something that we totally are not expecting and be PUBG related.
Or it's just that at the end you finish it and it just says winner, winner, chicken dinner. Because that was...
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Well, that's what they said at the end of if you won a PUBG game. It said winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Good for them.
Straight back to the bin with you, PUBG.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's good. So Callisto Protocol, very weird game. The fact that it's nothing like PUBG and it's set in the PUBG universe.
Well, it could. I mean, if it ends up being quite similar to Dead Space, it could end up coming out quite soon around Dead Space Remake.
Of course,
if it goes into 23.
Yep.
I don't know. It's far away, so
far enough away.
It's not worth worrying about.
No, fair enough.
But I actually I still have like even more like dark games, but I'll pass it back over to you.
Cool. Well, what's next? Probably I could kind of order these now. Mm-hmm. I've got like 4 more that I could probably order. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands comes out this year. Kerry and I are going to get it and play it co-op, so it's effectively it's Borderlands, but the best DLC in Borderlands 2 was Tiny Tina's Assault on Dragon's Keep, and it was effectively just like they were playing a game of Dungeons and Dragons, and you were acting out. I think I explained that when we spoke about it last time. So yeah, just looks kind of what I wanted from Borderlands 3. It'll have the same engine, it'll feel the same, it'll have spells and stuff.
Yeah.
But gunplay was the king or the best in Borderlands 3, but it's just playing that game sucked, kind of. Not playing it, but having to replay the story, and it just wasn't great overall. But
it's definitely a shame for Borderlands fans.
It was a shame, but see, Borderlands fans were actually quite happy with it, but they were just too late. Borderlands 3 should have came out 6 years ago.
Yeah,
they were just way too late, or more than that. I can't even remember when it even came out. It was pre-COVID.
Well, 2 was what,
2012.
Jeez,
Should have come out in 2014 or 15.
Yeah,
that's when Borderlands 3 should have came out, not 2018. I think is when it came out. And I think I just grew up too much. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's really stupid comedy. It's bad. It's not good. But 16-year-old Sam thought it was hilarious.
And that is fair enough.
That's fair. I don't begrudge 16-year-old
You can hold
Sam.
on to the nostalgia of it.
Of course. Borderlands 2 is still a great game, and a gameplay loop is, it's a very fun looter shooter. And it's got a good loop. It's got a good grind. But man, the story was just... But they missed the mark with the story. The story was probably the one they wrote for a game that would have came out in 2015, and it then it was very, the memes were of then.
God,
it was very 2015 and 2018, so it was just
sounds like you're probably right then.
Yeah, so that's kind of the vibe I got from it most of all. So this is kind of just taken all of that away. It's still going to have some of that kind of stupid humor. I'm fine. I don't mind it being there, obviously. But this just seems like it's going to change the Borderlands formula enough by adding sort of RPG elements, create a class.
Okay.
Because it is like a fantasy game with guns.
Yeah.
Because it's going to have spells. You're going to have guns in one hand and spells in the other hand. Kind of like Skyrim having a sword in one and spells in the other. But
it's fair enough that they do try and do something a bit different with the Borderland thing, because obviously they did the pre-sequel, which was a bit spacey. Just added a little bit. I like the
pre-sequel. I thought it was good. It definitely wasn't. It felt like a glorified, not massive DLC, but the sort of added verticality that the sort of moon gravity gave it was fun.
Totally.
It was a breath of fresh air. Pardon the pun, if there being no air in space. So yeah,
good one.
There you go. There's a bit of a stretch, but there you go.
There you go.
Right. So I've got 3 more after this. So you tackle it however you wish, and I think there'll be some shared, so we'll be able to talk about the shared ones.
I wouldn't be so sure about that. No, I mean,
there'll be one shared one.
Oh, interesting.
If not 2, okay. 1 or 2 of my final 3.
I don't think I have them written down. I mean, I knew you were going to talk about them.
Fair.
Anyway, because me being me, I've got just a fairly long list of things that not too many people would be perhaps as interested in. Ghostwire,
of course,
another dark-ish game. Possibly not as horror as originally everyone thought, but could still be really cool.
Yep.
Psychological, abstract kind of.
Definitely looks intriguing, that's for sure.
It might be a bit too sort of frantic combat for my liking now that I've seen more of it, but I don't know. Could be good.
Yep.
Although a combat game that does look really good and, could somehow rope me into playing a sort of fighting game is Sifu.
Sifu looks really interesting.
It's imminent, right? Or is it next month?
I think it is. Yeah. It's on. You can get it on a discount on PlayStation for pre-ordering it just now.
Yeah.
Kind of like they did with Deathloop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks interesting for sure.
Hardly
martial arts combat game. Again, we're listing this like we know what we're talking about here. But yeah, like a sort of interesting sort of third person, but not it's like sort of the over the shoulder kind of thing. Not quite. I don't know. It's quite hard to say, but looks very dynamic. Looks very.
It just might be one of these rare fighting games where it's
heavily inspired by the sort of martial arts cinema. That kind of one take martial arts fight.
Yeah.
That sort of stylistic thing. Corridor based. There's a film. I can't remember the name of the film, but there's a very famous scene of a one shot corridor martial arts fight that lasts for 6 or 7 minutes in a movie.
Totally.
And it's definitely got that vibe written all over it. Looks great.
I mean, hardly anything is day one for me anymore, but when the phone buzzes bigly like that, then it's just I can't help but be thrown off.
No, but it's one that you're looking forward to, regardless.
Tentatively,
see how it goes.
Yeah, combat,
Okay, no belong.
If it does it really well and in a nice, interesting, refined way, then I could be sold.
Could be sweet,
but we'll see. Let's see what else. It's just a nice big smorgasbord. Ollie Ollie World.
Of course, I totally forgot about Ollie Ollie World. Yeah. That would be on my list.
Skateboarding game. Could be good.
Would we play it on I don't know where I'd play it, because I played Ollie Ollie on the PlayStation, and obviously that was before we had TVs with lower input lag. But it was impossible, because I played it on the Vita first, and that was perfect.
Of course, yeah.
Nothing. So I would get Ollie Ollie World on Switch. That seems to be, and just play it handheld, because I've got the Ollie Ollie collection on the Switch.
I did forget about that aspect of how twitchy it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I thought maybe because it kind of expanded on the concept of what Ollie Ollie is, it could be just a nice little skateboarding game to have.
Definitely.
To keep us going a little bit more until the obvious one.
Skate 4, which we've still heard nothing about.
But it's possibly wishful thinking from me, because it's still kind of not in the gameplay style that I really am after.
Yeah. But they're fantastic games. They are like very well made 2D twitchy sort of. Yeah,
I'm not ruling out that I could get into its gameplay.
Yeah. I'll be getting it on Switch though, just so I've got the option for playing it handheld more than anything.
Well, yeah, and the lag free aspect, it would definitely be more. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
Like you say, our TVs don't have. They still got decent lag.
But less than we had in the past, so maybe it is easier.
Oh yes, we'll see. I feel like we're saying this a lot. We'll see.
We'll see. Well, this is the thing though, because I want to keep these notes for these games, and if we're still podcasting at the end of the year, we then do a retrospective and look at the games and see, did we play it? What did you think? Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you hate it?
Did you hate it?
Yeah. Just do that.
I hope so.
I hope so too.
What the hell else?
Hell else?
Oxenfree 2. Just yes. It's going to be more Oxenfree.
Yeah.
Which is fine. That's about all I can say, really.
Yeah, Oxenfree just being this sort of 2D game.
It's like sort of mystery adventure, sci-fi.
It's not right. It's not. I say literally. It was just I played it and I was definitely not in the headspace to play one of those games. At that time, so I never picked it back up again. Got it for like 80 pence or something. So.
Well, yes. So did I. I don't know. It's one of these ones where you just have to get invested in the characters and see it through, and so I don't know, be grabbed by the premise and the intrigue and the setting and all that. So 2 looks good for that. So
nice.
Yeah. Another indie one, which it could be this could be huge. Somerville. For me, because it is, of course, the folks that made the likes of Inside. Give it me right now.
Yeah, no, that's intriguing. I totally forgot about that one as well.
I mean, it looks incredible. I can't wait.
I don't think have I seen anything about that?
We like definitely again we have sat and watched some conferences where
of course yeah.
I mean, it perhaps doesn't look as on the surface, it maybe doesn't look as impactful, stylistically as the previous ones, but I'm hoping that actually it's got more to it than you maybe think.
Yeah. Well, they always do, though.
Yeah, I think that's
their game. Play Dead's game is all. Is it a Play Dead game?
I don't think so. I think it's actually a couple of guys that splintered off. Yeah, but it's very much in the vein of. I think
that's why I wasn't as aware. I think if it was a Play Dead game, I think I'd have been a lot more aware of it. So yeah,
I'm hoping for more. I mean, obviously, if it doesn't turn out to reach quite the heights artistically of Inside and Limbo, I'm hoping for more Abzu than I am the Pathless.
More Abzu than the Pathless.
In terms of level of enjoyment, in terms of guys that splinter off from the original creative group and create similar games.
Yes. Fair.
So, here's hoping that Prince of Persia remake turns out well this year.
I don't think it will. My prediction is it's going to be terrible.
Yeah.
Because we don't, we deserve it to be good, but we're not. We just do it. When do things like that work out?
And the more I've thought about it as time passed, I'm like, God, yeah, it really was quite basic. The kind of direction they tried to go in, and I'm like, surely, where's the ambition to not create something that's just really quite spectacular?
I don't know who said that was the way to go for this team. Like, I know that they're a newer team in Ubisoft. It's like an Indian team, isn't it?
I think so. Yeah,
I think it is. Yeah, like it's a fairly new Indian team that they've got.
But Ubisoft clearly just were trying to phone it in to get
100%,
a Prince of Persia thing out there.
Just literally keep the name in people's minds and get a bit of money.
So disappointing.
It's just not the way to go for that game. Like, I could maybe understand. I was about to say I could maybe understand for like a new Prince of Persia game, but even then, I still think the same thing applies. You can bring that IP back and phone it in.
I mean, hopefully,
especially for Sands of Time.
Well, yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I mean, hopefully, because they just completely disappeared. They went away. They were like, we're just not even showing this. No idea when it's coming.
No.
You know, it could even get cancelled, to be honest.
Hopefully not. I mean, I want to be wrong. It's got bad juju.
It really should be, when you think of remakes of, you know, PS2 era games, like when you have the standard of Shadow of the Colossus is always obviously my main one that I point to. That and Resident Evil 2, when you see just how good they can be.
Resident Evil 2 was a PS1 game as well.
Well, yeah.
So but you're that kind of time frame
of that kind of fidelity and quality.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 brought it up earlier, but you know, when you see a team that cares and what they can do, like Blue Point with Shadow of the Colossus and all that, that's just Well,
hopefully, you know, Ubisoft have gone in there, kind of given them a bit more support.
I don't think they could get away with that now, especially after going so dark and silent and reworking. They couldn't come out with something equally as mediocre.
The hope is that they've really turned it around, and then Ubisoft can prove to us that they can do good remakes, so then they go and do Assassin's Creed 1. That'll be great.
There you go.
I'd have that.
Yeah.
Maybe it's still a bit too soon, but
Assassin's Creed 1's interesting because I feel like as much as I would want that to an extent,
I don't know why, I just really want...
I get that, but also...
Ultra classic AC.
Ultra classic. I think it's too... I think the refinements in 2 would just be necessary. I think there's this like...
there's possibly a way to do it.
I think the way that they set up the mission structure is just becomes quite repetitive of like just... You listen to a conversation, then you hear a bit of this, and then you find their location, then you kill them, then you move on. It didn't have that kind of like... I think sort of almost set piece mission kind of thing that 2 kind of got with it that sort of brought that together.
I think if they really wanted to, there would be a way to do it.
Yeah. A remake rather than a remaster. Do you know what I mean? Remake Assassin's Creed.
Absolutely, yes.
Rather than remaster it.
And I think even pointing towards the likes of... I'm going to say, we'll see what the Dead Space remake turns out in terms of, is it structurally identical? Or...
Obviously different companies making them, like EA and Ubisoft. But then... PS3 era, you know...
I just find that interesting to see, you know, how do they actually go about... Because obviously, we talked about RE2 there.
Yeah.
It had to be obviously quite significantly different in terms of how it operated.
Yeah.
So we know
Which
that
worked
that's...
in its favour.
Yeah. So we know it's a thing.
But would the only remakes and remasters... Sorry, remaster... Well, there, I've said it. We've only seen remasters of PS3 games. Mm-hmm. It's just an up-res version of the game or, you know, in a collection or something. So
that wouldn't cut it for me.
No, definitely
not at this point.
But it would be interesting to see what a remade Assassin's Creed would be. Anyway,
or if they just reboot it again. What is it, Infinity?
It's not, So that's definitely their Assassin's Creed direction. Maybe there'll be a Damascus level in it, and you can play as Altair and just...
Damascus. Did we do an Assassin's Creed episode? I feel like we talked at length one day.
We've definitely talked at length, but Did we do just Assassin's Creed?
I'm sure we keep saying that we're going to do that, but I don't know if we did it already.
We've only had 22 episodes and we've already forgotten what we've done. Let's see.
So when you know you've made it.
I don't know if we have. We've definitely had conversations, but I think we have said we'll do an episode.
Right.
I think we still have scope for that. Nice.
Cool.
Added to the... Write that down.
Well, I kind of almost wish we hadn't talked so much about what Infinity could be then. Oh well.
We just brushed over it. We'll put it's a good thing to have it in one place. I'll go with my number 3. I'm numbering these now. I didn't before, but I'm numbering them now. The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild 2.
Is that this year?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
2016, 17. The first one came out. When did the Switch come out? Anyway, it went around that time.
I want to say 17.
I think it was 17. March 2017. Anyway, I'm looking forward to it, obviously, for obvious reasons. If anyone's played Breath of the Wild, they know it's incredible, but it's also just... I tried to replay Breath of the Wild fairly recently and went, no, I'm not going to do this because 2 is going to come out. It's going to be similar. It's going to feel the same, but I'll take it because it's new. My worry is that it's just going to be too much of the same. But...
Nintendo, I think, get away with that slightly more than others because, there's a good amount of time between them and, they really take care with their first-party games. And even if they are... Because obviously Mario Galaxy 2, I think you could say, was very similar to Mario Galaxy 1.
And, yeah.
But
it was such a perfect
right.
game.
Everybody said it got even better.
Yeah.
Even,
Yeah.
So...
No, that's fair. That's a good
quite
point.
easily be that type of situation again where you just... It doesn't really matter that it's so similar. Mm-hmm. In fact, the way The Last of Us 2 played versus 1 was so similar.
You're right. Yeah,
you know
you're right. I think it's just maybe it's because of the amount of time you do need to invest in a playthrough of Breath of the Wild. I mean, I played it. I've not even near enough completed it, and I'm like 60 hours or something. So
unless you know how to just
go straight to Ganon,
speed beat it, yeah,
speed run it. But yeah, there we go. But Breath of the Wild 2, I speed beat.
Words fail me
thing.
Sometimes.
It is 10:30, I suppose. Cool, nice. You got a few more?
Oh, the only other one I've got written down, and it's kind of like a bit of a damp squib because it's almost certainly not coming out this year, but some people seem to think it might, which is Hellblade 2.
Yeah, I saw that recent trailer.
Oh, so you saw because it's Unreal Engine 5.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Just can't believe that's gameplay.
It's unbelievable. Like
now, as is often the case with games being showed off, good chance it won't retain quite that level of extreme polish.
But just that art direction and that hulking beast, whatever it was just very, very impressive.
Yeah, even if it ends up being like 75% of that kind of fidelity or whatever you want to call it, that would still be quite acceptable, I would say. So, I quite enjoyed the first one. Got slightly long in the tooth.
Okay.
I mean, it wasn't a long game. It just, I don't know. You kind of move through it, and you're a bit like, right, okay. I get the idea now. This could be a 5-hour game.
Okay.
But
what was it, like 7, 8?
I think about I think so.
Yeah, thereabouts.
It's saying that it got old. Sounds a bit harsh.
Okay.
And the combat was fine. It was kind of something a little bit different. Actually, reminded me a little bit of, when they did, when they did that weird Prince of Persia reboot when it was the cel-shaded one, and the combat encounters in that were quite odd.
Okay.
They were very kind of, what would you call it? Like on rails is the wrong term, but
I know what you mean. Like this kind of fixed.
Yeah, almost kind of
thing.
Choreographed.
Yes.
And you kind of can't really fail,
right?
Until it's hard to get to the fail state.
Yes.
Kind of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see how they really expand and polish on what that original one, because it's quite a quaint little game.
Yeah, well, especially with a bit more budget behind it, definitely.
Absolutely,
it's got Xbox money behind it now. We know how much money they've got to.
But the sound design was incredible.
Of course, that was the
one.
selling feature.
With
I still not played it. I've got it obviously to play on Game Pass. I've got it on my list.
I mean, everyone says that you need to play it with playing it with headphones is kind of almost the point, because you just have the kind of
the whispers and
the whispers going around.
Interesting. Interesting indeed. Mm-hmm. Cool. We'll hope it comes out this year.
I don't think it will.
But who knows? With these crazy times, I mean, half these games we're talking about today could definitely just not come out this year either.
Yeah, so, absolutely.
I've got two more. Then we can talk about.
Let's do it.
One is imminent, and that's Horizon Forbidden West.
Oh, Nelly!
I know you're not as interested.
Do you know I really am so conflicted, because it would be such... The world building of that series is really something to behold. I mean,
they came out with a trailer the other day, like a story trailer, and I just couldn't help but... I was trying to avoid it, but I just couldn't help but watch it. And I did just say... Kerry was watching it with me, I was like, this art style, like this direction,
it's going to look... On the PS5, it's going to look sensational.
It's going to be incredible in terms of a looker. And I love the combat. And I really enjoyed the story. There was voice acting question marks, and side missions were about this. But I platinumed that game. That was my first platinum I went for. I'll probably be... Well, I'd like to say I'd be doing the same for this as well. I
might be getting my third platinum soon with The Witness.
Nice. Cool.
They all come at once.
I mean, it's just like buses. But it's just obviously there's not much more I can say. It's going to be more Horizon. I just loved Horizon. It
might be. It's almost. It might just have this. I'll sink back into my big AAA Sony weakness, and it might be the thing that the CEX voucher might have to take a hit, because I don't know. I really wish I didn't get overwhelmed by these big games these days.
Yeah.
Because...
I get that. Because there's a lot of experiences that you...
To get immersed in that world will be fantastic.
Yeah.
And it plays incredibly. Of course it does.
Yeah.
So hashtag we'll see.
Hashtag we'll see. That's a day one for me, no question. I'm very, very excited. What's 28th, I think it comes out?
Hey, if they do good DualSense stuff, I'm sold.
When is it? The 18th? Maybe it's like an 8 or something.
Something like
that.
Mid-February.
Mid-February. I think it's the 18th. Because that's a Friday. Typically comes out on a Friday. I currently have no gigs or shifts that day. Now I might get shifts, but I don't have no gigs, and I'm going to play it lots. Can't wait. It's going to be
as much as you can, because you're going to need a lot of hours to do it.
Well, that's it. I mean, there was this whole thing with, the meme. Do you remember the scene in Spider-Man 2, the film, where?
No, I thought you meant the book.
Cool. Could have been The Amazing Spider-Man 2 or the second Tom Holland film. There's so many Spider-Man 2s.
But I would have known, because you would have said The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
I would have said that anyway. Never mind. The novelization of the movie, you ask? No, where the Doc Ock's lab explodes at the beginning when they're doing the experiment, and they all get rushed out, and Harry Osborn is like, I have nothing left except Spider-Man, because he hates him so much. It's like the weirdest line. I love it. That's the meme that's been going about with the Activision deal, the Activision Xbox deal. I have Sony right now. I have nothing left except Spider-Man. This whole thing, because apparently they only have Spider-Man.
Before Sony stepped in, weren't the PS1 Spider-Man games Activision?
They were Neversoft. Yep, Activision.
Right, so I just feel that's kind of a funny full circle.
A funny full circle
thing.
But you're absolutely right. I didn't think about that. But I was like, I know it's a joke.
Yeah.
Because Horizon, Last of Us, Uncharted, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, there's so many games that you could just list off as and I'm sorry, maybe it's a little Sony pony of me. They're all better. they're all just better than.
Well, we've said it so many times. I mean, they just the production value of all of them. They're just all. Despite my reservations about big games these days, they're all oozing with quality, sheer
production value per square inch. These are big games that keep it up the whole time. Do you know what I mean? It's not a small game that does it big for that small 2 hours. You know, it's not condensed with this production value for 2 hours. It's like, here is a 30-hour Last of Us experience.
Yeah, they're such finely crafted games, which Xbox has just never quite had, or at least they haven't for a while.
No.
Like you could say at the time when Gears of War 1 came out in 2006, okay, yeah, that was maybe a similar gut punch of, wow, this is something really special right now.
Yeah.
But they just seem to lose it.
Yeah. So speaking of the most anticipated for me is God of War Ragnarok. Ragnarok, sorry. Ragnarok.
Oh, I'm going down to Ragnarok for my messages.
It sounds like a seaside town in Scotland.
Ragnarok.
Oh, I'm just nipping off like an island off the coast. Like, I'm just nipping on the ferry to Ragnarok.
Yes.
The Isle of Ragnarok. Anyway, sorry. God of War Ragnarok. Very, very excited. I mean, that is just going to be, again, much like I've tried with Horizon, I'm itching to play these games. So I've started them again. I did it with Horizon a couple of months ago, and I did it with God of War recently, and I'm like, no, don't.
Oh, you obviously started the PC version on your supercomputer.
Of course, yes. Of course,
your ultra-wide monitor.
Yes, of course, yes. On this iMac that I've got sitting next to me, I played God of War.
In ultra-wide? It's black bars.
Black bars. So I'm so excited to play those that I just don't want to touch the other ones.
I can definitively say I'm more excited for that than I am Horizon.
Same. Well, I mean, same.
It just appeals to me. I mean, yes.
I think it's also because Horizon's almost here, so I'm about to just be playing that anyway. I don't mean that there's any aspect of that. Like, there's still this waiting game with God of War. There's a bit more to find out.
I don't know. There's more just about the I don't know. Something about the combat of God of War, and even just something about more of that concept and world that it's in appeals to me a bit more than Horizon.
Yeah, same.
To draw me in, possibly on day one, but
that's a definite day one, or as damn near close as I can get.
Yeah, when is it? Just end of this.
No release date yet. So still says
possibly even 23.
But they did tweet out something about Sony tweeted about something that was talking about. What are you looking forward to most in 2022? Like a poll, and God of War was on there.
Yeah. From
an official Sony account. So,
yeah.
Not to say things can't happen and these things get delayed, but I think it's their intention to get that out this year.
You can be fairly confident of it, yeah.
Yeah, so
it'll be absolutely epic, obviously.
Oh, it's going to be unbelievably good. I mean, I can't see it being. There should be no reason it's not a 10.
Should be no reason.
Well, no, but okay, if it's gameplay wise very similar to a 10, surely as gameplay goes, does that keep it at a 10? Or I think it's the second part of this. It's the same as Last of Us Part 2 to Last of Us Part 1. Totally. It is. They're only making 2 of these Norse Saga God of War games. Yeah. So this is the conclusion to the story.
It really is going to be just Part 2. It's just the continuation of the first game.
So there has to be a little bit of expectations being checked, but I think it's going to be epic. I think it's going to be...
The cinematic qualities of that first one were...
astounding.
Just incredible.
Yeah.
And it kind of being semi-open world as well.
Yes.
Kind of, I quite like that about it.
Oh, me too. Well. Me too. It was just a game that we weren't getting from anyone really, and that was from me having no experience with God of War and kind of being put off God of War. Kratos was not a character that I was in any way, shape, or form interested in.
Angry
to make him to make you care about him.
Yeah.
I mean, Richard played it for the first time. He got his PS5, and it was in the PlayStation Plus collection. He played it for the first time about a month ago, and he was absolutely enamored with it. I mean,
it actually was. It's quite a stroke of genius from Sony, the way that they. I mean, that if you talk about bringing a game series and next genifying it. Yeah, I don't think anyone quite expected that to happen to God of War. It was like when that first trailer hit and it was gameplay, it was just like, This is God of War?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How the hell did they come up with that?
Boy.
Genius.
Boy. But yeah, they made me care about a big beardy angry man.
I mean, they really did inject so much kind of... You just really believe it.
Oh, 100%.
It's actually kind of bizarre.
It's so fantastical what's going on screen, but it's so grounded in this relationship. It's this human anchor that you can kind of hold on to while there's like a dragon, you're like stabbing a dragon that's flying in the face, in his face and stuff. But there's like this even though they're gods, it's this human element of the relationship that they've got that just grounds everything. But that single camera, that's genius. Yeah. Single camera the whole way through, absolute genius. That bumps that production value per square inch that we talk about, like up to 11, man.
Totally. Yeah, it's the big one.
So God of War, ferry to Ragnarok, really excited for it. It's going to be great. Hopefully out this year. And with that, my list is complete.
Yeah.
Lots of games. A lot of games coming out this year. Very exciting.
It's a big year.
Big year. After that one we just had of being fairly mediocre. Mm-hmm. Good games in there.
Well, I mean, it's weird, obviously, because I enjoyed it quite a lot just because of the Xbox thing. But in terms of
2021 release games, though,
not
quite as much, because we played a lot of backlog games. I mean, I played Halo 2 and 3 and 4. And
what did you play in 2021? Halo 2.
Halo 2 for the first time, and I really enjoyed it. It was great.
Great.
All right. I was talking into my water bottle there. Does this sound good? Cool. Well, there we go. It's getting late. This is a later recording today, but that's good. That was an enjoyable conversation, which half of it was not on upcoming games of 2022. So there you go. But there you go. Big week I thought it would be with the podcast this week. So yeah, that's all good. Well, we'll finish up there just now. But thank you very much for listening. If you got this far. And we'll catch you for the next one. Maybe it's the Assassin's Creed episode.
Oh, well, perhaps.
We might have just decided that in the middle of the episode.
Maybe.
This is how we plan it now. On air.
Onwards and upwards. See y'all in February.
Of course, it will be February. Catch you in Feb.
Bye.
Bye.